All right, at some point we're gonna go do it too. Hoishi, Hoishi, you got the bongos ready? I think it's time for Utsu Esa.
I'm ready.
Well, we do it till we're satisfied, whatever it is. Ready?
I don't know about anybody else, but that's a fun song. Very nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And your vocals are very, very right in the pocket there.
Thank you. It's because before we started, I did the me.
I got you did the me. That's good.
Yeah, and then I said, and then my mashpia said, "What me? Have some bittel. What you talking about yourself all the time?"
No, that's who.
I wasn't gonna try to explain it.
You might have to turn down.
My Zayda used to sing, and he pinched his throat skin. He used to go like that. But you don't need to do that. You have it naturally.
Thank you.
Hey kids, what time is it?
Time for Gezintahait Street.
It is time for Gezintahait Street. And tonight we have at least one story. We probably have two stories, but we have at least one. And since we're still in the month of Adar, and Adar is a time when we magnify happiness, I'm going to tell a story about happiness. And the title of the story is A Lesson from a Young Trooper. That's cool how you get that smoke out of the top of your head there, Gimel. The previous Rebbe once recounted a story.
Because I was thinking.
Yeah, I knew I smelled something burning. The previous Rebbe once recounted a story that occurred when the Tzemach Tzedek attended a rabbinical conference in Petersburg, the capital of Tsarist Russia. At that time, an army unit of a few hundred cantonists was camped in Kronstadt, a city close to the capital. A cantonist were 6- and 7-year-old Jewish boys who were drafted into the Russian army for 25 years. The evil Tsar Nikolai developed this policy to try to make Jewish boys abandon their heritage. When the young Jewish soldiers in Kronstadt heard that the Tzemach Tzedek was close by, they asked him to come and speak to them. Miraculously, permission was given by the government for the Rebbe to come and speak to the boys. On his arrival, the young soldier said, "Rebbe, we've polished our buttons in honor of your visit. Now we want you to polish and refine our souls, which have become coarsened." The Tzemach Tzedek responded, delivering a Hasidic discourse in a simple way that the boys could understand. And after saying the discourse, he instructed the boys that even though they had no Jewish books, those who remembered some Psalms of David should teach the others so that they would know them by heart. Their heartfelt psalms, he said, would be similar to the way a soldier polishes his buttons. The Rebbe explained that soldiers polish their buttons with earth and water. So too, polishing the soul is done with earth and water. Earth represents words of prayer, and water represents the tears which accompany those ancient prayers. One young soldier piped up, "Rebbe, when a soldier goes to war, he goes happily, with a victory march, not with tears." The Tzemach Tzedek agreed. He said that happiness in serving Hashem is the way to defeat the evil impulse. From that time on, all Chabad Rebbes emphasized that our service should be infused with happiness. In that way, our fight will take place with extra strength, and our victory will occur in a faster and easier way. Should we go to a niggin or keep going with the Hasidus? Let's have a second story. The name of this story.
Wait,
yeah?
You want a niggin voice?
What? A niggin is good if you got one.
Okay, what do we got? Well, let's see what do you got? How about the trilogy? Tatyar King.
By the way, Morty.
Tatyar King.
On the first niggin, not on the Utsuetsa, the one before that, you were brilliant.
You were brilliant, so I feel bad that you don't remember what you did.
Wait a minute. I feel so afraid.
But it's recorded, so don't worry.
If you say that.
I have it on the recording.
Okay, ready? Tati or King?
Oh, we're not doing it. If you run slow, then it's
How much do I? When do I switch to the A?
Oh, Tati, King, why don't you do a good thing and turn with your people, and the angels all sing, oh, glorious King, won't you turn with your people? They made you a crown, won't you come back down and please turn with your people? Oh, Tatia King, you know it don't mean a thing unless you return with your people. Take it away, boys.
Now, come on, children.
Return with your people, and the angels all sing, oh, King, won't you return with your people? They made you a crown, why don't you come back down and return with your people? Oh, Tatia, why don't you do a good thing and please return with your people? Take it away, boys. Oh, Tatia King, it always don't mean a thing unless you please return with your people.
Oh, yeah. That, I just want to let everybody know that is the Gezintahait Street version of Ad Mossad. Now, I have a second story tonight, and it also goes in line with magnify happiness. Once, a chassid gave the Tzemach Tzedek a written note about one of his children. The doctor said the boy had only a few hours to live. God forbid. When the chassid handed the note to the Rebbe, he was thinking to himself, who knows what's with my son right now? He only had a few hours left. And the chassid started crying. The Rebbe read the note, and he said, don't cry. Arouse your innate power of certainty in the salvation of Hashem. Arouse your power of betochen. Have simple faith that the Holy One, blessed be He, will save your child. Think good, and it will be good. And you'll merit to celebrate the bar mitzvah of his sons. Our Rebbe tells us the source of the instruction to think good and it will be good is in the Zohar. The Zohar declares that the lower world receives and the supernal world responds according to the faith that is communicated from below. According to our attitude, that's the way the godly emanations shine down. If the lower face shines in a happy way, it's answered by a shining face from the heavenly countenance above. If the lower countenance is in a mode of depression, the supernal man responds with strictness and judgment. Based on that teaching, the Zohar tells us, serve Hashem happily. By expressing joy and happiness in Hashem in this world, we cause joy and happiness to descend from on high. We spoke many times, and we mentioned that this show is the main for bringing of Mashiach. And we spoke about the coming of Mashiach and how it heralds an era of eternal perfection. When Hashem himself will live here with us in his eternal chosen dwelling place, the third temple, the permanent holy house, the Beis HaMikdash in the holy seat in Jerusalem. Tonight, we're going to describe levels of reward and godly revelation. But first, let's understand the service that will bring about that reward and revelation of godliness. In paradise, before they sinned, there was a clear, bright line, a separation between good and bad, between holiness and its opposite. When they ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the good and the bad became mixed up and became internalized. And it brought about a thing called klippas, which are husks, in which the holy sparks are tied up and captured and bound to the very lowest level. They're called neutral husks because it's possible to raise up the godly sparks that are caught in those husks. And when we raise it up, we transform the life force, the vitality of this physical world, which is now stuck and chained to those klippas, to those husks. And that whole thing of the physical world will emerge from its impurity and ascend to holiness through our service. Like it says, all flesh will behold divinity. All of us together. And Hashem will appear over us with his majestic beauty and his power, and the glory of Hashem will fill the whole world. Israel will see eye to eye. What do you mean eye to eye? Our human eye will see the truth of godliness, just like the supernal eye sees how everything is. Just like we saw at the time when the Torah was given, we saw a revelation of Hashem. But that revelation on Har Sinai was only for a short time. The revelation in the future, in the time of Mashiach, will be forever, will be permanent. And the reward for accomplishing this victory through fulfilling Hashem's desire by doing mitzvahs, the reward is part and parcel of the mitzvah that you do. The mitzvah recreates the reward. A guy who has very poor das can come up with an example like the reward for taking a shower is feeling clean. The reward is part of what you're doing. It's not a thing that somebody pays you for what you did. It's part and parcel of what you did. So the reward of doing a mitzvah is the mitzvah itself. By performing the mitzvah, man draws the revelation of the infinite light from above downward as part and parcel of the mitzvah. It's not like the guy who works as a sharecropper and at the end he gets paid something. It's part of what he's doing to reward. And that mitzvah accomplishes that what had been under the dominion of the klippos, of the husk, and received this vitality from the other side, now becomes holy. By performing the mitzvah, man draws the infinite light on the object through which the mitzvah is performed. Before he used that physical thing for the mitzvah, it was under the dominion of the klippos, of the other side. It was tied and bound to non-godliness. For example, the parchment of tefillin or a mezuzah or a sefer Torah, that parchment is made of a skin of an animal, a skin of a kosher animal, and by taking that skin, which is stuck and tied to those husks that are hiding the godly spark, when we use that skin for a mitzvah, it raises up that whole physicality of that thing to a level of holiness. The mitzvah draws on that parchment a revelation of the infinite godly light called the infinite light. Similarly, so the skin comes from an animal. Similarly, in esrog, which is vegetative, when we use the esrog to do a mitzvah, its whole physicality now becomes holy. Or when you give money for charity, money is inorganic. And when you give it to charity, that inorganic itself becomes holy. It goes out of the realm of physicality. It goes out of the realm of the husk and becomes a holy thing. All these three levels were previously in the realm of the klippos, of the hiding of the husk. But after Hashem's divine will is accomplished through doing the mitzvah with these objects, then those physical objects merge into godliness. They become holy because they serve the purpose of the mitzvah, which is fulfilling God's desire and giving him delight. The physical vitality within these physical things ascends and is dissolved and absorbed into the blessed infinite light. And what is that infinite light? It's Hashem's desire. It's really Hashem that is clothed in that commandment. Similarly, the power of the enlivening animal soul, which enlivens our body, which is in our physical limbs, when one performs a mitzvah, the life of his body becomes enclosed in that holy deed, and therefore enclosed in Hashem's desire. And it also ascends, that animal soul, that vitalizing soul, ascends from the husk to be absorbed into holiness of the commandment, which is his will and is nullified within the blessed Ein Sof life. So first you have the object that the mitzvah is done with being dissolved in the infinite light. And now you have the vitalizing soul of the one doing the mitzvah becomes absorbed and nullified in Hashem's desire in the light, in the infinite light. And even in Torah study are saying the Shema prayer, or thanks Hashem for giving my soul in the morning. The animal soul's power is elevated to holiness. How? Because moving of the lips constitutes an action. The divine soul cannot express itself through physical lips, a mouth, or a tongue, or a teeth, except by way of the animal soul. The enlivening soul, the enlivening of the body, can connect that person to holiness, that body to holiness. There's another virtue of the mitzvahs. One, the object the mitzvahs are done with becomes absorbed and unified in godliness. Two, the one who's doing the mitzvah, the vitalizing soul of the person, becomes absorbed and unified in godliness. And also, all the food and the drink that person drank, which becomes the energy for the vitalizing soul to do the mitzvah, also becomes elevated. And all that was under the dominion of those husks, and they drew their vitality from the other side, and now they all become holy. So not only the vitalizing soul, the animal soul becomes holy, the object you're doing the mitzvah with becomes holy, the whole world that gives you the energy to accomplish the mitzvah also becomes holy and unified in the godly life. And when one does the mitzvah with the energy derived from this food and drink, this klippa is transformed and absorbed into godliness and holiness by means of the energy of the animal soul that grows from that nourishment, which now clothes itself in the letters of Torah and prayer in the performance of this mitzvah. And that unification and godliness constitutes the unveiled expression of the inner aspect of God's will, because that's what Hashem wants. He wants us to take the world and our vitalizing soul and the objects of the world and unify them with Him. And with their vitality, the energy of the animal soul is likewise elevated and absorbed into the infinite light. And since the energy necessary for performing this commandment was supplied by that food and that drink, the vitality of that food and drink is likewise absorbed in the infinite light, together with the mitzvah whose performance it made possible. Thereby, through our mitzvahs, all of these neutral husks, they could go either to good or bad. That's what happened when they ate the fruit. Good and bad were combined. And these husks constitute the vitality of this physical and corporal world. And we turned it over from physical and corporal to being holy and spiritual. Now, through the 365 negative commandments, what we're not supposed to do, we don't give nurture to the bad side. Like it says, Hashem says, I'll banish the unclean spirit from the earth. And the 248 positive commandments, thereby we draw down the blessed infinite light down here to elevate the physical world and the holy sparks that fell and were heretofore bound and shackled to ungodliness. Now they become unshackled and become holy and godly, to bind and unite with Hashem the entire vital soul, which is in the 248 limbs of the body. So they become actually one with Hashem. And therefore, the limbs of the body and the life of the animal soul become a chariot for Hashem, as were Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, the patriarchs. They were designated as God's chariot, and so does every Jew become a chariot by performing the commandments. And now we can explain and understand the reward incorporated in this action. So far, we told you what the action accomplishes. It turns the physical world into holiness and godliness. And there's a reward that's incorporated in it. It's not something we get paid for doing. It's incorporated in accomplishing it. By purifying and elevating the animal soul and the physical world to make it unified with godliness, it gives Hashem delight, because it's his desire that we do it. There are three, and that delight of Hashem is our reward. You guys want to do a niggin, or should I keep going? You have a niggin loaded?
No, there. Go for it. Hey, Anna, hey, there, your name is the way you live. Oh, yeah, there you go. Oh, your name.
All right. Very cool. There are 3 levels of divine reward that become manifest through our service. Number 1, there's a level of reward at the time of the resurrection of the dead. Like it says in Pirkei Avos, all Israel have a portion in the world to come. And the world to come here means the world when the dead people will reawaken. How do we know? Because it says, who has no portion in the world to come? The one who denies that there will be resurrection. And all Israel share in the world to come. The world to come, this where the souls get up from being dead, is very different from the second level of reward we're going to discuss, which is the reward in paradise called Gan Eden, which has many requirements in order for the bodiless soul, after the soul leaves the body, it gets a reward for what it did in a bodiless world where it basks in a godly shine. But there are requirements, like the sages say. Only ones who have clean hands and a pure heart can enter there. This Gan Eden is sometimes, and that's why it's confusing, called the world to come. Why? Because you achieve it after 120 years. But it can't be compared to the revelation of godliness in the world of reincarnation, where there's bodies, souls in bodies down here in this world, reincarnated, is incomparably greater. But there's a level between the two before the world of reincarnation and after the reward in paradise. There is another level which is called the days of Mashiach, which is what we usually hear about when we talk about Mashiach, when everybody will be a millionaire and there will be no fighting, people will not be in competition with each other, and the whole goal of everyone will be to acquire knowledge of godliness. Beautiful, delicious bread will grow out of the ground. Clothing will grow out of the ground. Nobody will have any needs for anything. The lion will lie down with the lamb. A snake will go in the hole and bring up diamonds, and a little kid will lead them. But that is not yet the world to come, where the dead people get up. That's only called the days of Mashiach. And even though both of those messianic times have souls in bodies, the revelation of the world to come, of the reincarnation level, is much greater, incomparably greater, than the days of Mashiach. So the chronology is like this. First, the bodiless soul gets a revelation of godliness in Gan Eden, in paradise. And that's higher than any revelation of godliness in this world. Not only is higher, 1 second in Gan Eden, the enjoyment is better than all the pleasures of this world combined. 1 second of pleasure of the soul in paradise is better than all the pleasures of this world. But the days of Mashiach is even a higher revelation than Gan Eden. But Olam Haba, the time of the resurrection, when we wake up from the dead, is even a higher than the days of Mashiach. Nevertheless, even though it's much, much higher, every Jew, even the sinners of Israel, have a portion in that world to come. The lower revelation of Gan Eden, where the souls are without bodies, paradise, has conditions to entry. But the reward for our mitzvahs in the world to come is open to everyone. Like it says, every Jew is filled with mitzvahs, like a pomegranate is filled with seeds. So it says, Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelek l'olam haba. Every Jewish person has a portion in the world to come. So why does it end up, as it says, they're the planting of my hands, through which I am beautified? Everybody has a portion in this great revelation of godliness. So what is this thing? Why does Hashem add, they're the planting of my hands, through which I am beautified? Gimel Aleph, you get the question? And that level, they're the work of my hands, the planting of my hands, through which I'm beautified. That level is our godly essence. We're godly even before we do any service of Torah and Mitzvah. So now we have a question. Does everybody have a portion in the world to come because of the mitzvahs and the service that we did for Hashem? Or do we have a portion in the world to come because we're the planting of his hands through which he's beautified? And the answer is, in that world of the resurrection of the dead, there are two levels of reward. The first level of a reward is the reward for our service. Then there's a level which is a revelation of our essence, which is higher than any service we did. In that world, the first level of reward is the revelation of Hashem's nachas and delight in the service of mitzvahs, through which we raise up the world, that's why we came here. But the ultimate godly revelation, the planting of his hands, through which he is beautified, the revelation of our true godly essence, comes as a result and after the reward for our service of mitzvahs. The reward for the mitzvahs has two levels: the days of Mashiach, before the resurrection of the dead, and Olam Haba, the level where we get up finally to live forever with Hashem. The primary wonder after the resurrection in Olam Haba will be the revelation of the source of the Jewish soul and the Jewish body together, as they are rooted in the essence of Hashem. So in the world to come, there's two levels: reward for our service through our mitzvahs, which is the lower revelation, and the revelation of our true godly essence. So to recap, Gan Eden, which is paradise, where the soul goes without a body to receive the pleasures of godliness, is a reward for the Torah that we learned, but it's only the light that fills all worlds called the Malik Olama. But the world to come, we will see with our eyes Hashem himself, the true, infinite, unlimited, and perfect revelation of godliness. Because the reward for the mitzvahs, which is Hashem's desire, that we do those mitzvahs is higher than the revelation in paradise, which is a level of wisdom. But the main revelation in the world to come is not the reward for the mitzvahs, it's the revelation of the Jewish essence, the planting of his hands. You guys want to do a niggin at all now? Labe, what niggin you want to do now?
What niggin? Ah, we have a good and oldie for you. So.
Good, let's hear it. By the way, you guys are like ringing a bell tonight. I'm really enjoying the music. All right. Thank you. Jamal Allah, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thanks, Gimme.
thanks, label it. Hey, Froggy, thanks for that. That was a good one.
No sweat, Gimme.
Froggy, wie sagt man, you hast getan mir a solid.
Thanks, Froggy. Oh, I mean, whoever your name is, old man. I'm solid, Gimme.
Hast getan mir a solid, Froggy.
I'm riding the rails.
Do me a solid, I got you.
Rabbi Allah.
To further expand the explanation of the three levels, all of the prophecies of the prophets about Mashiach were only about the Yom Mashiach. The lion will lie down with the lamb. Treasure will be all over the place. All of the prophecies of the prophets were only about the days of Mashiach, not about the world to come, where it says, no eye has seen it. That world to come, which is drawn down through our mitzvahs, to be revealed to us as a reward for our service in doing the mitzvahs. But again, the real revelation in the world to come is that Eden that no eye has seen. It's even higher than Hashem's delight in our mitzvahs. And Hashem's delight in our mitzvahs is an unimaginable revelation of infinite delight that we're going to get. We're going to see that big godly smile. But the essential delight, the higher level, the planting of his hands in us for ourselves. Like a parent gets delight when his kid does the right thing. But his delight in the kid itself is much greater and more essential. And that's what's going to be revealed to us. Hashem's love for us, his essential love for us. The difference between the days of Mashiach and the resurrection include both levels of the world to come. First, the superiority of the days of Mashiach over paradise, over Gan Eden, because there will be souls in bodies in the days of Mashiach. The revelation will be in this world. The ground will grow up delicious bread and beautiful clothing for us. Because the reward for the mitzvahs is also in the days of Mashiach. Gan Eden in paradise is only spiritual. It's a soul without a body. It's limited to the light that fits into worlds. It can't reach the full force of coming down to this world to reveal godliness. Not so the days of Mashiach, there will be an unlimited revelation of godliness. Knowledge of God will fill the earth like the ocean, like the waters fill the ocean. It will come down to this physical world. And the second difference, Gan Eden, paradise, has levels of revelation. Like the sages say, there's no rest for the Torah scholars in Gan Eden, because each new level, in order to achieve it, they have to go through a river of fire to forget the last level, and they have to go up through a pillar to be ready to receive the new level. But that's in Gan Eden, the souls without bodies. But in the days of Mashiach, we'll be in bodies. We'll have a lot of elevations, but we won't have to forget the earlier level in order to receive the next higher level. Hashem himself cannot even be called infinite. You can't really call Hashem the infinite one, because infinite indicates a starting point that spreads out infinitely. But Hashem is above a starting point altogether. The infinite light is only an indication that Hashem has the ability to spread out infinitely. And to explain further the three levels of rewards, which the highest level is our dwelling together with Hashem himself, who's even higher than being able to be called infinite. The infinite light is a revelation of his ability of infinitude, but he has a whole bunch more stuff that he's going to reveal to us. The way I understand it, he's going to make one funny face and we'll be laughing for 1,000 years. Creation is through the godly light being contracted to fit inside each creation according to its capacity. Whether a whole world or an individual creation, that light is contracted from up to down. The higher spiritual creations have more light, and the lower ones have less light. but it's a measured amount of life. The sages teach us that our forefathers and Moshe Rabbeinu have been sitting in paradise for more than 3,000 years. Like all statements of the sages, they're exact. 3,000 years indicates the three created worlds of Bria, Sir, and Asiya. And when they say more than 3,000, they mean that the patriarchs and Moshe Rabbeinu have reached the world of Atzilus, higher than created spirituality, the level of pure godly unity, but even they, no matter how the highest level they've reached, they will come into bodies to receive the revelation of infinite godliness, which will be finally manifest in this physical world in the world to come. And in that world to come, there will be a revelation of the godly essence. And there will be two separate revelations, like we said. There will be the reward from our service of doing mitzvahs. So just do a favor for another person, and you'll be able to get this reward. And the even greater revelation, when Hashem reveals his real connection to us, his essential connection and love for us. Like the parents' love and delight in their child is higher than anything the kids can accomplish. Until even the revelation that the Jewish body is chosen by Hashem in his free choice as rooted like the Jewish soul in his very essence. We want Mashiach now. You guys have a niggin we can go out with? Or maybe the Gimel Aleph wants to do an appeal.
Yeah, we got a niggin. Why? Get you.
Okay.
Thoughts over here. Yeah, we're doing it with Tati or just יהי רצון מלפניך, השם אלוהינו, Aveseyeno. Oh, Tati Alki, won't you do sing and learn with your people? Only angels goes. Oh, glorious King, won't you return with your people? Oh, they made you a crown. Why don't you come back now and return with your people? Oh, Tatia, why don't you sing and return with your people?
Let me stop it, the make up the young man. Say no, say no, say no, say no. Hey, let me stop it, the make up the young man. Let's say no, say no. Hey, say no, say make stop it, the make up the young man. Say no, say no, say no. They must never make something enough. They come to your name, no. They just can't say a say. They never make something enough. They don't say your name, no. They say just can't say a say. They never make something enough. They make up in your name, no. They say just can't say a say. Hey, 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 they must never make something enough. They don't make your name, no. They just can't say a say. They must never make something enough. They make something your name, no. They just can't say a say. They never make something enough. They make up in your name, no. They just can't say a say. Never stop me, you don't keep me up, me up, me low. We say the hurricane, we say
I second the motion.
Vitzalel, I want to say one thing.
Yeah?
What I want to say is like this. And I've said this before. The Rebbe told us that Mashiach is coming now. This is not something written in the books of fairy tale. This is the reality. And by the way, everything we see around us now, this COVID, everybody's running around scared. Scaredy pants. You know why? Because they can't understand what's going on. They don't know what's going to happen next. Well, guess what? The Jews never knew what was going to happen next. What they do is they have faith. They have the Tochen in Hashem. And now the whole world has to realize the only way to go, because what's happening is, let me tell you, if you think that the world is breaking apart as it seems, don't worry. You're right. It is breaking apart as it seems. Because Atzmus, Hashem's, the essence, Hashem's self is breaking through the seams. And now we will see Hashem revealed on this world. So I want to ask all of our friends, if you're Jewish or not, it doesn't make a difference. You can accept Hashem. You can accept Hashem as the great creator who made everything. And you can shout out, Hashem Echad U'Shmei Echad. Hashem is one. His name is one. We want Mashiach now.
Put things up. Remember, kids, Gezintahait. That's a wrap. That was